In today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to create this type of a motion graphic using simulation zones and geometry nodes within Blender. This is actually an effect from my GeoMo 2D asset pack that gives you 12 customizable 2D motion graphic assets that you can incorporate within Blender right now. We'll talk more about that later, but for now, let's go ahead and learn how to create this particular effect. In our default scene, we're going to go ahead and bring our cursor to the junction of these two windows, click and drag to create a new window, and then switch this from the 3D viewport to the geometry node editor. Then we can tap N to remove the side panel and press this plus button to create a new geometry node tree. Now, we could keep the group input to actually make sliders present in the modifier panel. That just makes it easier for control. So instead of deleting it, I'm going to press Ctrl right click and just drag to remove the connection. You can do that if you have Node Wrangler enabled from your preferences. Next, we need a line from which those triangles are going to actually emerge. So let's create a line by pressing Shift A and searching for a curve line. Again, this could be a mesh line as well, but once you have the line present, you have to make this as long as you want on the x-axis. So we're going to change this z value to 0, and to make it customizable, we'll press Shift A and search for a combine XYZ node, and we can just duplicate that. So we have one for the start and one for the end, and the start is going to be the negative of the end. So we have to search for a math multiply node and then simply multiply it by a value of -1. And this value is going to come in from the group input. So to change what it's called, you can tap N and then rename this to, let's say, length or anything that you feel is appropriate for your setup. And then we can tap this in as the x-axis and take the length from out there as the x-axis on this combine XYZ, use this as the start and this as the end. So now from here, you can change this to be as long as you want. And the next step is to actually instance some points or distribute some points along this curve. So the way we can do that is by determining how many points we actually want. So we press Shift A and search for a points node, and then we can have this count as another input. Let's keep the count at something like 5 so that we get 5 points that's going to be present directly at the origin over there. So now we have 5 points present right over there. Now we can distribute these points along that curve by pressing Shift A and searching for a set position node. And we're going to sample the position of this curve line based off of the factor. So let's press Shift A and search for a sample curve node. And we are going to be sampling this particular curve, and we want to sample the position. So we could change this to vector and then search for a position node and plug that in over here. But essentially, we already have a position output over here, so we don't have to do that. We can keep this at the default, and we can plug this position in to the position over there. But right now, it's checking the factor of 0 and moving all of the points to that point. As we go from a factor of 0 to 1, you can see we can place it anywhere on that line. But we want a different value for every single one of these points. So we press Shift A and search for a random value node, and then we can simply plug this into the factor. And now they're all distributed randomly along the entire length. If you don't like the distribution, you can go ahead and just change the seed, and you will get different variations of where those 5 points are distributed. Now the next thing is, on these 5 points, we want to instance some random shapes. Now you could make the shapes outside, but since it's just two very simple shapes, I'll make them within my geometry node setup itself. So I'll press Shift A and search for a curved circle. And then if I go ahead and plug this into the group output, you see I have my circle right there. And now I want the circle to actually be a triangle. So I'm going to reduce this resolution down to 3. And now we have a triangle. But I want this to be pointed towards the y-axis. So I'm going to press Shift A and search for a transform geometry node. Plug that in right after the curved circle and rotate it about the z-axis by -30 degrees to make it perfectly line up with the y-axis. Now I actually need two variations. One's going to be solid and one's going to be just the outline. So for the solid variation, I can just press Shift A and search for a fill curve node, and that will make a solid triangle. Now for the one with just the outline, I can select these two, press Shift D to duplicate them. And now instead of a fill curve, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for a curve to mesh. Now I can plug this in, and to visualize it, I can take this output and plug that into the group output. And now I have just the outlines. To actually make it thicker, I'm going to give a profile curve, and I'm going to choose a curve line. Now if I plug this into the profile curve, it's clearly on the wrong axis. So let's change this down to 0 and just bring down the x-axis value to a small number and decide whatever thickness you want. So I think this is good enough. Now we have these two different objects, and on those points, I want to instance either this or the other one that we created where it was filled. So we can do that by plugging this in and then just searching for an instance on points node. So let's search for the instance on points node. And now if we go ahead and plug this into the instance, you'll see you get these filled triangles on all of the points, but we want them only on a few of the points. So we can use this selection option. So we press Shift and we search for a random value node and we set the type from float to Boolean so that it's either true or false. And we keep the probability at like 50%. So now it randomly chooses two of them. And then we can instance on points again, but this time the other one. And now we don't want to instance it on these points because now it's actually instancing this triangle on the corners of the other instanced triangles. That's why you get this. That's not what we wanted. We want the original points that were present over here. We can plug that in as the points. And now, instead of again having it on all of these, we can have it on the ones that were not selected for this. So we search for a Boolean math node and we choose not, and then we plug this in over here and we can use the output for this selection. So now it is on the other triangles. So this one is going to have these two and the other are filled with this other one. So now we can combine the two using a join geometry. So press Shift A and search for join geometry and simply plug both of them in. And now we have both of them. So now that's super cool. The next thing that we can do is actually have these go up or down based off of some simulation. So we can press Shift A and search for a simulation zone and then plug the output of the join geometry into the input of the simulation and take the output and plug that into the group output. Now, what we actually want are a few of them to go down. So for that, they'd have to be rotated about the Z by 180 degrees. So we can search for a rotate instances node and plug that in after the join geometry. And for the rotation, we want to rotate about the Z by 180 degrees, but again, only for a few of them. So let's keep this at 180. And then for the selection, just duplicate this random value node and this time change the seed. Ensure that the seed is a different seed from this one and plug that into the selection. So now we have some of them randomly rotated. In fact, let's just go ahead and increase this length and increase the count so that you can actually see it better. Let's also go ahead and play around with the seed a bit to get a better distribution. And I think this is good. So now we have a few of them that's pointed upwards and a few of them that are pointed downwards. Now let's first make all of them move up. For that, we simply search for a set position and we can move them on the y-axis by a tiny amount. And now if you play the animation, they're all going to move up. But what we need is for it to actually slow down as it moves up. So we can actually create an attribute that we can call maybe velocity and change that every single frame and offset it based off of that velocity. So let's press Shift A and search for a store named attribute node. And now we're going to name that as vel for velocity. You can choose whatever name you want. And it's going to be for every instance and it's going to be a vector. Now we can have that vector be just on the y-axis. We can start it off at a value of maybe 0.5. And again, a lot of these can be customized, but I think just with this example, you understand how customization can work and you can customize whatever you think is important for your scene. Or you can again, go ahead and get the entire pack where you get 12 such assets with everything already created so that you can just randomize it and customize it super fast with ease. But now we can go ahead and use this same velocity attribute to drive the offset. So let's press Shift A and search for a named attribute and it's going to be a vector called vel. And we can plug that attribute into the offset. And once we're done with that, we can again store the same attribute, but after scaling it down by a bit. So let's just duplicate the store named attribute, plug that in right over here. And for the value, instead of directly using the same vel attribute, you have to ensure that the name vel is present here. What we're going to do is we're going to search for a vector math node, and we're just going to go ahead and scale it down to a value of maybe 0.95. And now if we were to go ahead and reset the animation by going to 0, you can see that as it goes up, it slows down and stops. So that is exactly what we wanted. It starts off fast, slows down, and just gets very, very slow to the point where it seems like it stopped. But this seems way too uniform. We want different ones to scale down by different speeds. So what we do is we press Shift A and search for another random value node. And instead of going from 0 to 1, we go between maybe 0.9 to a value of 0.99. And now we can plug that into the scale. And then when we play this, you see you have different ones slowing down later and some of them going fairly far. But we can go even better by randomizing this for every frame. We can just press frame and then plug that into the seed. And then if you play this, it randomizes every single frame and you essentially get them to behave slightly more organically. Now, the thing is that we don't want this to move all of them up. We wanted it only for the ones that were turned by 180 degrees, or the ones that weren't, to be precise. And that was selected based off of this random value. So again, we could simply plug that in over here and see only the ones that are reversed go up. But again, we want the opposite. So let's search for a Boolean math, plug that in right over here and just switch this to not. And now only the ones that are pointed upwards will go up. To get the ones that are pointed downwards to go down, we have to essentially do the exact same thing again, except this time we're going to multiply this bell attribute by -1 before setting the position. So let's just duplicate this by pressing Shift D, and then we can use another vector math node. So let's just take this, press Shift D and scale it by a value of -1, and now plug this into the vector and this into the offset. So now if you were to go ahead and play the animation, they're going to move in the opposite direction. But again, remember, we need to choose the correct selection. Otherwise, all of them are going to be moved by just this. So let's go ahead, take this and plug that into the selection. And now we should have the ones that are pointed up going up and the ones that are pointed down going down. It's literally that simple. The next thing is to actually get these to scale down on their size. So let's press Shift A, search for a scale instances node, plug that in right over there. And we're just going to scale it down to maybe something like 0.98. And now if we were to go ahead and play the animation, you can see that they also become small as they go towards the sides. I think this can go even smaller. Let's go to something like 0.9. And now when we play the animation, they should become really small really fast. And that looks great. But there's no point in keeping them once they become really tiny, because they're going to always stay, but they're just going to keep getting smaller and smaller. But it's going to literally be invisible to the camera. So it's just adding geometry to the scene that's not necessary. So what we can do is we can go ahead and delete the triangles if they become smaller than a specific value. So let's press Shift A and search for a delete geometry node. And we're going to delete it if the scale of the instances, so we can get that using the instance scale value, is less than. So we have to compare if the value of the scale is less than, let's say, maybe 0.01. So now if we plug this result into the selection, you'll see it just disappears. And that's because right now we're telling it to delete points, but we don't want to delete points. We want to delete the instances. So if we switch that to instance and now keep this at a value of 0.01, you'll see that it keeps getting smaller up until it becomes 0.01. And once it becomes 0.01, it completely deletes itself. I think 0.01 was a little too small. So let's make it maybe 0.1 just to show the effect. Now, if we go back to frame 0 and play this animation, you see it deletes itself right after it becomes 0.1 times its size. Let's make it even larger so that you can actually see it get deleted. And there you go. The moment it becomes 0.5, it just deletes. So that is exactly what we wanted. We can keep this down to 0.1. And the reason why we want to delete these is because we want to also add in even more particles so that it's like a burst of energy. So to add in particles, what you do is you have to join geometry in. So we press Shift A and search for a join geometry node, plug that in right over here. And we want to join in this particular geometry before it goes into the simulation. Now, if you were to just leave it as is, there's going to be new points added in every single frame. And that might not be what you want. Apart from that, as you see, every time something new is getting added, it's being added in the exact same place. And some of these that are pointed up are going down, and some of the ones that are pointed down are going up. So to fix those, the first thing that we should do is store some more attributes that we can use to ensure that we get the direction correct. So let's move everything to the side, duplicate the store named attribute node, and instead of a vector, we're going to store a Boolean, and the Boolean is going to be named rot for rotation. And I'm just going to choose this random value as the actual value. Now, instead of selecting it based off of this directly, I'm just going to delete that and delete this and use this attribute as a named attribute. So let's duplicate the named attribute node, switch it from vector to Boolean and call it rot. And essentially, if rot is true, then it should go down. So we're going to choose this over here. And otherwise, we have to use a Boolean math not, plug this attribute in to the first socket and take this output in as the second socket. So now if we go ahead and play this, whatever's pointed up will always go up, whatever's pointed down will always go down. And now the next problem is that they're always added at the exact same spot. So to prevent that, what you do is go all the way to where you actually distributed the points on the line and actually sampled the curve and make this seed dependent on some value. So maybe what we could do is search for another scene time node, choose the option with frames, and just to give it some variety, I'm just going to add in maybe a value of 8572, which is just a random number, which will then go into my seed value. And now when you play the animation, you should have them appear at different points, which I think looks really, really cool. And you get a continuous animation of this. I think this is really cool, but there's still a lot of things that we can customize. For example, we can also choose to have these stop emerging after a specific point, and also maybe you wouldn't want it to emerge every single frame. So to prevent it from emerging every single frame, you have to choose either between joining a new geometry or directly using the original geometry. And we can do that using a switch node. So let's go ahead and select everything and move it over to the side, bring this join geometry back, and now press Shift A and search for a switch node. Now we're going to switch between geometries, so we're going to keep it as is, and we're going to join in the new geometry only when it's true, and if it's false, we just use the original geometry itself. Now the switch is going to be if the frame number is divisible by some other number. So we can search for a scene time frame and press Shift A and search for a math modulo node, and we can just use the integer math node because frame number is always going to be an integer. And let's say we want to add it only every fifth frame. So we can just tap the number 5 and then compare if this value is 0. So if we compare integers and check if this value is equal to 0, only then should it switch to true. So once we plug that in, now you see it's going to add in only every fifth frame, which I think makes it look a lot cooler. Apart from that, instead of having them perfectly align up every single time, we can add in a little bit of randomization to the initial position as well. But I think I'm going to leave that out for now. But it's as simple as searching for a set position node just after this set position, or using this same set position node, you can just offset it on the y-axis by another random value. So search for a combine XYZ and of course another random value, but we want the random value to be fairly small. So let's go with minus 0.1 to a max of just 0.1 and randomize the seed quite a bit. Plug that into the Y. And then if you go ahead and play it, there's just a tiny bit of randomization. You can increase that and now it's going to be very random, but that's the essential effect. You can also choose to use this rot attribute to move all the ones that are faced upwards up by a specific amount before the simulation starts, and the ones that are faced downwards to move down by a specific amount, which gives a nice gap between them. But I think that's not necessary for this particular tutorial. And that's actually pretty much all there is to this. The last thing that you need to do is just add in a material. So the way I've done that is just search for a set material node, and you can choose the default material because you're not using that for anything else. Now off in the shader editor with the default material selected, instead of a principled BSDF, I choose to use an emission because it's a lot faster to compute, especially when you're doing stylized 2D motion graphics. You don't really need any of the shading. So then to actually view what's happening, you can switch your viewport shading to rendered, switch off overlays, change the background color to maybe black. And to actually see the correct colors for motion graphics and things like that, it's easier to change the color management in your render properties from AGX to standard. And that way you get true whites and the actual color that you set over here. Next, I want to randomize between two different colors. So I'm going to search for a color ramp node, change this from linear to constant, bring this back to maybe a position of 0.5, and now choose the two different colors. So maybe this could be an orange and the other one could be a white. This can go into the color. And now for the factor, I'm going to just press Shift A and search for an object info random node. And then if I plug this into the factor, it's going to either be randomly orange or white. And that's actually all there is to creating this super cool effect. So I'm sure you'll be able to use this idea to create even more cooler animations and potentially find out different things that could be customized. But if you don't want to set this entire thing up and you want to create 2D motion graphics, you can go ahead and buy my product on Gumroad that's linked in the description. That's the best way to support this channel to allow me to keep creating free tutorials for everyone and keep exploring Blender and making you go from a beginner to a pro. So I will be releasing more tutorials just like this, along with demystifying videos real soon. But until those come out, thank you so much for watching, keep creating, and don't forget to stay creative.